This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. You got it? You got it? Yeah, your mouse broke? Oh, it went off course? Okay. All right. All right, Ira, how are you feeling, sir?
You know what, Big O? It's kind of weird. We've been doing accurate Pembroke Pines reports now for a couple of months during the season, and yet you can make a case that tonight almost feels like opening night against the Timberwolves, with Tyler coming back, with Bam coming back, with this roster being as close to whole as we've seen all season. So it's kind of good spot, 4 games over 500, 5th place in the East, but now they have the players to really show who they are, and it's perfect timing. As the NFL winds down, the Heat can start winding up.
Yeah, it's too early to get, worried about all this crap. There's so much season left, and the chef is still figuring everything out, and we're watching Caleb come back to the mix, and Jaquez is kicking ass, and Josh Richardson's got the fountain of youth again. He looks so good now. I'll tell you one thing I am concerned about. While we say it's so glorious and it's fantastic, and you're impressed with his effort, you better back off Kevin Love. If you want his ass to last the entire season and into the playoffs, you got to ease up on the old man. And you know what I'm saying? It's impressive what he's doing, but be careful. Let's not lean too much on the old man. I'm just saying.
And the problem there, Big O, is this. The Heat had 2 backup centers, and Kevin Love is going to start the season as a power forward.
I know.
God bless Orlando Robinson, but he has his limitations. He's only going to get so high on his bar. We've seen that sort of decreasing production. Thomas Bryant, God bless his energy. He's maybe an 8-minute-a-game guy. He'll infuse that energy, but his defense has been so off point, it's been a struggle. So, yes, Eric Spoelstra has found the perfect answer. Go small at the 4 with Caleb, with Haywood Highsmith. Use Kevin Love as your backup 5. It's almost like they need another big man. And one thing I'm curious about, Big O, and I know this might sound crazy based on some of the numbers, the Heat have till January 10th to guarantee the contract for the season of Orlando Robinson. I'm just curious if they might not say to themselves, you know what? Maybe we should find this season's version of a veteran big man, Cody Zeller type. He's with New Orleans now. But that type of player, a guy we can have a little more confidence. The Heat have done that just about every year. They did it with Zeller. They did it with Dwayne Dedmon. They brought in another big. I think I agree with you. They need one more big there. But you know what? That would mean admitting the Orlando Robinson thing is sort of topped out. And 2, one of your 2 sort of quote-unquote prized off-season acquisitions, Thomas Bryant, is just sort of meh at this point.
Yeah, I don't see. I'm not going to criticize you for the Orlando Robinson thing because you're so good with all these young guys and you're developing them, and they're all not going to turn into gems. More than enough turn into gems for you. You know, you people are way over the quota already as it is. I mean, it's just ridiculous what you're doing now with development. But the Bryant one, which I like the pick, I thought it was going to be better than what it's been. Defensively, even, I thought he could help you out for a couple minutes, rebounding and all that kind of stuff. I didn't think offensively he was going to be a huge addition, but I thought as a garbage guy, he can help you out and those kind of things. And it just hasn't, sometimes maybe the light goes on later on. But yeah, that would be the one where you could, if you want to be overcritical about it.
But again, you can't for this reason, Big O. They signed 2 guys at the minimum. That's all the money they had. Right, they signed Josh Richardson at the minimum. They signed Thomas Bryant. Big O, if you go 50-50 on those kind of signings, if half of your minimum salary guys pay off, you've done your job. Well, they did their job with Josh, and you just deal with Thomas Bryant. The problem is, I believe the Heat have 2 very good third-string centers in Thomas Bryant and Orlando Robinson. Like you're pointing out, that's forced Kevin Love to be the second-string center because they don't have that guy. And Big O, just as you've seen around the NFL, and almost like a backup quarterback, you don't have to have it, but you're going to need it at some point. I think that's where the Heat are right now. Kevin Love's buying him time, but you're right, he's also 34 years old, and eventually that gets old.
Is there some kind of European stuff coming on when the season's done? Is there somebody out there, or is there somebody that could be at? What do we know?
DeMarcus Cousins just signed today to play in Taiwan, which tells you that they feel the market's not that strong right now. We have to wait a couple of days. January 6th, you can start signing 10-day contracts. You can experiment with guys. Remember, Chris Birdman Anderson first came here on a 10-day contract.
Right.
So you can cycle through. Then you get that January 10th guarantee date. So there's still about a month or so for the Heat to comb the market, to scour, to see who's out there and who's not. But again, it's a matter of, does Erik Spoelstra play him? You know this, Big O. Erik Spoelstra wants to play his kind of guys.
Of course.
And not to a Thibodeau level, but he will play his older guys big minutes. It's just sort of who he is.
He plays who he trusts.
Correct.
Okay?
Well put.
That's it. Jaquez got your trust, and you're going to play. You're going to play, and you're going to play big minutes and big moments. That's because you earned his trust. That's how Spo's always been. He doesn't give a shit about your age. But if you can play for him, he's going to lean on you because he can count on you.
Yet he's cognizant of it, which is why Kyle Lowry's off tonight. Kyle Lowry, at 37 years old, has yet to be injured this season. He's missed 2 games, the second night of a back-to-back on San Antonio after a long flight from Atlanta, and then tonight's game against the Timberwolves. So they also are being smart. He's 37 years old. He's really done a really good job. Again, it's interesting. You bring a backup center. I'm going to bring a backup point guard. I like what Josh has done, but they don't have that speed guard in the backcourt.
Oh.
We saw Chicago's quick players in the last game of that back-to-back set against the Bulls, where they were able to get into the painted will. Kobe White, their quicker guards. The Heat probably could use one more quick guard also. You know what? The Heat are at the position right now. I think you and I can back off of they got to trade for this guy. They got to get Zach LaVine. They got to do that.
Oh, God,
what they have to do, Big O, I think the Heat are a couple of subtle moves away from being perfectly fine. That's what I'm looking to see. Maybe a backup center, maybe a veteran speed guard. Could be as simple as that.
And to their credit, they couldn't get that perfect backup point guard to Lowry, but they have 5 or 6 guys that can part-time handle and create. And I think that's magnificent because it doesn't matter if it's the first or second team. There's constantly 2 guys on the floor that can, handle the ball and set everybody else up. They may not be pure point guards, but they still are helping in the offense.
But one of those guys is a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler. One of those guys is a 30-year-old Josh Richardson. Like you were talking with Kevin Love, you don't want to overdo it. Look, those whippersnappers, quick guards, you need a young kid to stay in front of them. They tried Jamari Bouye early in the year. That didn't work out. I think they're going to continue to look in that direction because that's what's hurt them is the quick guards with their older guards. Yeah. Caleb Martin can handle, Bam Adebayo can handle, Jimmy Butler can handle, Josh Richardson can handle, Jaime Jaquez can handle. Matter of fact, I almost wonder. I keep putting Jaime in different positions. Oh, he can play power forward. Oh, he could be the 3. He could be the 2. He could be a 1 at some point also because he does advance the ball. He does handle. He really has turned out, Big O, to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right. Will I get because, how many more times do you get pumped up for your former team? So I'm just wondering, do I get a pissed off Jimmy Butler tonight, or it's just been so many times already?
Jimmy can't give a rat's ass. He has skipped just about every game in Minnesota. Hell, he took off the 3rd game of the damn season for rest in Minnesota. He doesn't care, but he has called Karl Anthony Towns as soft as baby poop. So that still is out there. And Cat is having a great season this year. And Minnesota is the #1 defensive team. And Jimmy has really struggled finishing at the rim, whether it's the ankle, whether it's the knee, whether it's the grind. So I will be curious.
Twin Towers going in there now. That's going to be harder.
Yeah, so I just think when you look at all of that stuff going on, Big O, I am curious if Jimmy comes out with bravado against the Timberwolves or he realizes I'm not at my best spot. The Wolves are playing really good. I don't think any of us on our bingo cards 2 months into the season said the Minnesota Timberwolves would be the #1 team in the West.
I know, 19-5, dude. That is impressive. Yeah. Okay, the Warriors, I understand kind of the method behind the madness from what you did the last couple of years of re-signing these guys, but this is turning out to be an absolute disaster. What's gone on with Draymond Green, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry's streak ended yesterday from 2018. And, this team, my God, they got their titles and they made their money and all that. But it is going to be an ugly, ugly finish for all these guys in this team.
This reminds me of LeBron James when he left the Heat in 2014. Oh, he went home to Cleveland and it was a story and everything, but he looked at the Heat and he said they're getting old. And he looked at the Heat and he said, you know what? Between whether it was Birdman or Battier or Mike Miller, who was already gone by then, or Dwayne Wade, and he said, I got to go with someone younger. Now, I don't think that's who Steph Curry is. I think Steph Curry wants to be like Kobe. He wants to be a one team for a career guy and ride it out however it plays out. But when you keep re-upping these guys, and now you have to re-up Draymond Green, and you have Klay Thompson who's falling off also, you have to make a decision. It'll be interesting. They got a mega arena there that they paid $1 gazillion to have. So they have a big nut to pay off also. They can't go to the tank route, I wouldn't think right now, but that's what happens when your team gets older and also when you depend on instability. Look at even a younger team. The Memphis Grizzlies relied on John Morant. His stability, they're paying for it now. They're not going to make the playoffs. You look at the Warriors. They relied on Draymond Green's instability. They're paying for it right now also. You know, those shaky kind of players, you put too much into them, that's what you wind up at the end of the day. And yeah, I think when you look at the Nuggets and what they have with their core only getting better, and you look at so much of the West, even the Minnesota team we'll see tonight here at Kaseya Center, you could see the West, never thought I'd say this, when they're healthy, passing the Warriors by.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's no doubt about it. Would you still re-sign Draymond Green?
I wouldn't have signed Draymond Green in the first place.
Okay.
I think he's a guy who only fits you. You know what this is to me, Big O? This is a game of liar's poker. Because Draymond Green might think he has offers elsewhere. Draymond Green might try to back you into a corner. If you don't give me X, Y, or Z, I'm going to leave. But as you know, Big O, you've seen this in every sport. Certain players only fit certain teams. And other teams know that as well. Yeah. Who the hell wants to take on an older Draymond Green to be their leader, to be their Udonis, to be their guy who's setting a culture? This is a guy who found the right team. So again, it could get ugly. I would play liar's poker with Draymond. Hit free agency, bring me back a bona fide offer, and then we'll talk.
All right, what are you working on in the Sun Sentinel, my friend, so folks can check you out?
We're a story already today just about Jaime Jaquez Jr., whatever is talking about the rookie wall. And then I looked at how many games he played at UCLA. And they played in so many preseason and postseason tournaments. He's had 37-game seasons already. So he's not at the wall yet. He's used to playing a lot of games. So spoke to Eric Spoelstra about when they think it might or might not come. And their thought is
after the All-Star break is when you worry about
that. And especially for a rookie, sometimes, you know, some teams only play 30 games even in the 20s. He's used to a longer season. He's used to the bright lights of LA and sort of talking about how he's kept going and how much he's just constantly drawing attention around the league. So I wrote that. I also wrote today about guys talking about having Tyler back, having Bam back tonight, how it's going to change. Won't be dramatic. I think with Kyle Lowry out, Tyler can start in place of Kyle, and Duncan still starts. But even Duncan Robinson said he knows his role is going to change. So I think these next 2 or 3 weeks are going to be interesting to see how Eric Spoelstra maneuvers this situation, including even, like you mentioned, Kevin Love. Maybe Kevin Love is backup center to Bam only is needed for 10 minutes a night now if Bam's going to play 36. So I think the first thing we wanted to know is when is Tyler or Bam coming back? Tonight, Monday. Next thing, how is Eric going to adjust his rotations? We'll see that over the next 2 weeks.
And by the way, let me add something with Jaquez.
Sure.
Because it just seems like in his character, he seems like the kind of kid that even when he's tired, he's going to find something somewhere because there's just dog in him. And you don't teach that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And you can watch Jimmy at times where he's dog tired and you know he keeps reaching for more and he keeps reaching for more. I kind of feel, you know, that he's that kind of dude, the Zoe type, those kind of dudes that just keep, you know, they can just keep reaching and reaching a little bit more. I see a young man in that rookie already. That's what I
agree. He leads the Miami Heat in fourth quarter minutes. He played all 12 minutes again the other night. It's who he is. And just like Jimmy did, Jimmy's had so many games recently, Big O, we go, oh, crap, Jimmy doesn't look good. And the end of the game, you go, Jimmy looks pretty good. So that's sort of what Jaime is. He knows when to save it for also. He's a smart kid. And if you look at his Instagram recently, he seems to be doing quite well for himself. I'll let Sean bring that up after I'm done today.
Yeah. Hey, listen, when you have locks, it happens. You know, that's
I wouldn't know, Big O.
That's what I'm telling you. The locks can do it for you, man. That's what it is. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. more importantly, subscribe there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Catch you next week on our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
Thank you, sir. There you go, the great Ira Winderman. All right, all right, all right.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.